let's talk about our experience at the D.C Improv over the weekend, seeing the comedy legend himself, John Witherspoon. You all may be familiar with him from such films as the Friday franchise, Boomerang, starring Eddie Murphy and Halle Berry, the Wayans Brothers. He plays Pops. You all are definitely familiar with his voice as Pop/Granddad on the Boondocks. It's sad that series is ending, by the way, and which, by the way, he actually had told a very interesting story as far as why the Boondocks had came to an end, which we'll get into in a bit. But the man's pretty much been everywhere. He's getting ready to star in a new live-action comedy series for Cartoon Network called Black Jesus. I believe that's going to be premiering, I want to say August 7th is what he might have had said. I'll have to check the dates for you guys. But yeah, we went to go see him at DC Improv. And man, where do we even want to begin? Let's do a nice build-up to it. Let's talk about the overall experience that we had, Tammy, with the DC Improv staff. You know, I saw a lot of the faces from the Mick Foley show at this one, and I was very happy because I kind of said to myself, all right, same familiar faces. What's the odds that we can get the same waiter again, or maybe somebody equal to Leon? And the fact that I still remember his name is a good thing. But instead, we get this cute little, small, shy, I won't say she was insecure, but she definitely seemed pretty preoccupied, like she was trying her best to focus on making sure that she didn't mess up anybody's orders, and she seemed like, the best analogy I can do, it just seemed like looking at her, it was kind of like she got thrown into the jungle and Axl Rose just said, "Welcome to the jungle, baby! You're gonna die!" You know, I mean, she seemed like a deer in headlights.
Well, for me, I really thought she was just trying to concentrate. You know, she was certainly nice enough. I'll give her credit where that is due for sure. But yes, she really seemed overwhelmed, and believe me, it was packed in that place for the Saturday show due to the fact that it was actually also sold out just as Mick Foley was. But she, you know, the more packed it got, the less and less we saw of her.
It did, yeah, because I remember we went and we saw our good friends Tasha and Marcus, and we definitely got to give them a shout out because they're probably going to be checking this out now that they know we're going to be talking about them and everything. And there's a really fun story we got to tell involving a train ride home, by the way. I look very forward to us talking about that one. But yeah, she seemed like she was completely out of her element to the point there was two times where, one, when we asked for, hey, can we get some quesos and dip, which, by the way, I made another fumble on my shirt. I'm just going to stop leaving it alone. I'm going to start. How does that go? I'm not going to order it anymore. That's what the fuck I'm trying to say. I'm not going to order that anymore because I keep messing up my shirt. You know, and it sucks because I'm sitting there, I got all these napkins, I kind of feel like I need a freaking bib as I'm sitting there eating it, and it's just droop, 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 drip, drip, and I'm like, God damn it, you know, and it's not like I have club soda to take care of it. I'm using some of my beer, and hey, the beer, once again, nice and ice cold, love that. I'm getting sidetracked, the waiter, it seemed like in between 25 minutes, we were waiting for our stuff, almost a half hour. That's how it kind of felt. Definitely it was at least 20 minutes, maybe a little more, that we were waiting, especially when we wanted refills. It kind of felt like it took almost twice as long, but it really didn't. It was almost like the same length of time. And, like, there wasn't a, sorry for any delay that you guys might have been experiencing. As you guys can imagine, it's sold out, it's packed. I would have at least liked to hear that rather than just here. You know, here's your stuff, you know. I'm not saying that she was brutally bad, but I could definitely tell that this was her first time being out in this type of exposure as far as, I won't say fast food, but more so as being a hostess / waiter in an exclusive private type of setting like that was.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, in such a close proximity to everybody, it's a comedy club. And you have, you know, depending on the table, 4 to 6 people, at a table, which you have to remember orders for everybody. Now, believe me, I've done my share of things like that with my line of work at one point. So I can understand and certainly relate how difficult that is. But, what we can say is she at least, got it right. It might have taken her a bit longer, but at least she got it right. But in hindsight, I think I wished, she would have said, my apologies for the wait. That probably would have made us feel a little better due to the fact that, our friends who were with us didn't quite, get their drinks at the beginning. They wanted it kind of as the show was getting ready to start. So it's kind of like, okay, so where's the waitress? And finally she shows. But anyway, all in all, it didn't really deter from our experience.
Packed house, so packed, and I think it's funny, Tammy, because we had secured our tickets for the show at least maybe 2 weeks before the event had came about.
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks.
And the tickets weren't sold out. I mean, definitely the Saturday and the Sunday show, it wasn't sold out. Friday wasn't sold out either. Because he did 3 days, or did he do 4 days? He did 4 days.
No, he did 3 days, but there were 4 shows, 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and a show on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, it was so ridiculous because as we were getting ready to do this here tonight, I actually did a Google search because I was trying to see one of the names of the comedians that I could not remember his name for the love of me. I thought I knew his name, but you kindly corrected me. I actually saw a couple of people begging on Craigslist for John Witherspoon tickets to D.C Improv. I mean, a lot of people. Honestly, we didn't hear this on the radio, and I mean, we got all the black stations out here in the D.C. area. Take your pick. I mean, you got 96.3 WHUR. You got Magic 102.3. You got 95.5 KISS. Take your pick. I mean, those are some pretty strong black stations, and I didn't hear anything about John Witherspoon on those stations. So the fact that this happened, I don't know how it spread it the way that it did, but it spread it like at least the week going into the weekend that we went to go see him, tickets had got sold out. And like I said, people were begging on Craigslist and other sites for John Witherspoon tickets, and they were willing to pay a pretty high penny from some of the ads that I had actually saw. One person said that they were willing to pay up to $200.
Wow. Funny, it's a good thing I didn't hear that until just now, but I wouldn't have traded the experience for sure. But it was funny, as far as it being sold out, you also have, when we were getting ready to leave, just a real quick note, I mean, the line was getting pretty long when we were getting ready to leave as far as the next show coming in, because there was a 10 p.m. show that night. But, yeah.
Talk about the first comedian who had opened up for John. Well, we didn't see John come out immediately, but he was the MC of the night, and a good MC he was, Corey Fernandez.
My goodness, what can I say about Corey Fernandez? Oh, my goodness. When we actually had really good seats. Matter of fact, it was like stage us. So we had really, really good seats, and it was kind of funny.
Wait, I got to jump in here. Let me tell you, because she's not really stressing it enough. Put it to you this way. If we wanted to touch John Witherspoon, that's how close he was. We had the first table. We were looking right at him. He was looking at us. We could have given him a high five. That's how close we were to him.
Right, as Lee said, correct. Now, so he comes out, and he's kind of, it seems kind of shy, honestly, when he first comes out.
Corey Fernandez, you're talking about.
Right, Corey Fernandez. Now, when he first comes out, it was kind of like, okay, well, let's find out what he can do. And I tell you what, from start to finish, when he first opened his mouth until the very last joke, he had the whole house rolling. It was frigging hilarious. And it didn't hurt that he looked quite a bit like John Leguizamo. A matter of fact, as Lee said on the another show, that honestly he might even be just a bit nicer looking. Matter of fact, yes, he is. So, but just he took everything he all of life experiences and just ran with it. He seemed kind of shy, but his jokes were so good and the timing was so good that it didn't even matter. It was awesome and on point. Loved his performance. I mean, I laughed and laughed and laughed. It was just hilarious. He just did the jokes and it just made that opening act awesome, and it set the tone for the night, except when we got to the second comedian.
I want to say this about Corey because I couldn't find the right words to describe it for our Spreaker and iHeartRadio audience as far as the type of style that he had going on. And you touched upon him sharing life experiences and all of that, the fact that he was getting older. And, I mean, come on, he wasn't that old, but he was in his 30s, but he kind of realized that he's starting to kind of get up there in age. He realizes that it was just a blink of an eye yesterday that he was a teenager. And I understood that because we're pretty much in his same age range, as was a majority of the people that was there in attendance. Because it looked like the oldest, it probably went on up to about maybe, I would say at least 60s. I mean, there was a nice, great diversity very, very strong diversity from the age range to the race. Mm-hmm. And once again, I got to stress this, I was very surprised at the number of Caucasians that was there because when we all went with Tasha and Marcus, and they're black, I'm black, and you're white, I was taking jabs at you. I said, well, watch John Witherspoon crack a joke because you're probably going to be the only white person in the house. And sure enough, there wasn't a lot of white people, but there was definitely a good amount. It was almost a 50-50 mix. And just thinking about Corey's style, it kind of seemed like, to kind of really summarize it for you guys, he was going in that direction where he talked about all the races, and he was kind of like throwing little insults out there. Like one example was, hey, you guys see these black women? He was like, we got any black women in the house? And black women were like, yeah. And, he goes, yeah, black women, they got the best booty. Y'all know that, right, fellas? And then he was like, yeah, now just go down the list. Who do you think is in last place? And then he goes, and then I liked how he shared his experience about being on that Fake Me Out Greyhound bus. He was like, yeah, I came from New York.
That was funny. And he basically, said after that it was, well, it's much better than being on the Chinese bus because we get here today, but we left last week. Who the hell stops in Hyattstown? There's nobody who lives there.
Right.
Right. And just jokes like that. And it was frigging hilarious. And as Lee kind of alluded to, it was kind of funny he was talking about the Chinese, and I think he might actually be mixed.
I think so.
Actually.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about how Chinese women, we're not knocking anybody, it's just a joke. Ha ha ha. But he was talking about how the Chinese women, don't really have any badonkadonks. And it was funny. He said Mattel made a doll, and it was a Chinese doll, and the ass was sold separately.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So that was actually a really funny.
He is Hispanic, though. That does dominate more, because remember he said that one joke where they were like, dude, how can you be Spanish and don't know our language? What's up with that? And then he flipped the script, and he flipped it on the black person, and he's like, what do you mean you don't know our language? And he was like, or some shit like that.
Right, yeah. He could tell it much better than we can, but yeah.
But he was able to pull the race card in such a funny way that you laughed at yourself. It was
correct.
It was pretty freaking awesome. Let's talk about the other guy, Michael
Elgingham.
Elgingham. My mama always said, No, you're not hearing any skipping. I just love playing with that because I realized I messed up. I'm actually going to leave that in there because that was actually kind of funny. Mama say, mama, mambo sauce. Mama say, mambo sauce. No, but seriously, Michael, my mama always said, if you don't have anything nice to say about somebody, don't say anything at all.
Yeah. Well, and we're not going to go into a negative route with him. I give him his props. He tried. He got a few laughs, and some of it was funny. Some of his jokes, I don't think his timing was there. But he certainly tried, and don't get us wrong, we were all there for the fun. So, we tried to laugh it off, and what was funny, we did. What wasn't, just kind of went to dead air, and it's kind of like, okay, yeah, that joke didn't work.
Yeah, it was like, how can I really describe it? Exactly what you said. I couldn't actually help after the buzz that I got from Corey setting everything up. I'm like, all right, I'm nice and high. Okay, it's that great build up. We're almost there with John Witherspoon. Now we're gonna get to this guy, Mike. Mike is gonna send us home. He's gonna have us nice and just ready to go. And I couldn't help but during, like, God, he must have been on the stage for about maybe 20 minutes. I couldn't help but keep looking at my drink, and I'm saying to myself, okay, when is John coming out? Because I really wasn't enjoying his jokes like that. Yes, I chuckled at some things, but I just really, everybody has opinions, and as the wrestler Kevin Nash says, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. And hey, just because I'm saying what I'm saying, Tammy is saying what she's saying, it doesn't mean that we have the final say. We're the be-all, end-all. It's just an opinion, folks. But honestly, if I could give advice to Mike, I would say work on his timing a little better. Don't go through such a long whirlwind of a story. A good example, towards the end, he talked about this whole porno movie that a friend had gave to him, and it was actually titled Don't Impregnate Me. And basically there's this woman, she wants to have sex with this guy, and she says to him, whatever you do, don't come inside me, don't come inside me, don't come inside me. So as he's fucking her, she's like, don't come inside me, don't come inside me, don't come inside me. He comes inside her, and she's like, oh my God, you came inside me. Now I'm going to have a kid, and are you going to accept responsibility? And he just goes through this whirlwind of how, 9 months pass, she has the kid, they're walking down the street or whatever, she got the baby in the stroller, she sees him, apparently he's a deadbeat dad, and she chases him, and basically, the joke was supposed to be, hey, the whole time I'm watching this, I guess he was saying to himself, I thought this was a porno. What a crappy ending, or something like that. He tried to end it on a note where you go, ah ha 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 ha, but instead it was kind of like, ah ha ha ha.
No, it was more like, what?
It was a weird adventure. There's nothing that stands out in my mind of, okay, that joke that he told was on point. There's nothing that I can recall. I'm trying to give him the benefit of doubt, but I can't recall anything. It's kind of interesting, too, because after the show was over, we didn't see him. We saw Corey, but we didn't see him. Makes me wonder.
Yeah, I don't know. As far as that, just like, Lee said, basically, there seems to be one that comes to mind, but honestly, to tell you the whole joke, I couldn't. So at that point, it's kind of like, you were laughing so hard, and then we got a reprieve. And then when John came out, the whole place lit up.
And leave it to Corey to set it up, because Corey came back out right after Mike, and I think that was a smart move right there, the way that they had it set up.
Sure, he was the MC, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was smart, because to have the transition go from Mike to John, not that John would have been okay regardless, but Corey did a nice save, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. The man himself, John Witherspoon, he comes out, and it was so funny watching some of the people. You pointed out the nice, curvy, voluptuous brunette that was sitting kind of around my right side or whatever. You mentioned how her, and I noted to you, I saw another person. Basically, we noticed a few people that really kind of found themselves to be in a weird spot looking at John Witherspoon, hearing his monologue, and light chuckle here and there, but they kind of gave you the vibe like, oh my God, I can't believe he just said that. Oh my, what am I doing here? I don't think I'm supposed to be here. This is very grotesque. You know, it was kind of like one of those type of looks that they were given, you know. But John Witherspoon comes out, I was like, what the fuck were you expecting him to do? Come up to the microphone and say, how are you good folks doing tonight? Y'all ready to have a good time? He didn't do that. He just came on now. What did he start doing? He started going through his little Friday catchphrases.
Basically,
Boomerang.
he came out and he started doing his act, honestly. You know, his whole act, his moves, his sayings, and, about...
Yeah, boy!
Yep, and bang, 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 bang. So, as of course you know from Boomerang, and he did his catchphrases, and he said he had to coordinate. You know, he said yellow shoes, yellow pants, yellow socks, yellow shirt,
yellow
and
teeth.
Yellow teeth.
Yeah.
Coordinate.
Damn fucking lie about them teeth. Them teeth was bright white. Them teeth was white, but I got what he was saying. What can you say about him? I mean, he was just freaking on point. I never laughed so hard before in my life. I laughed like almost nonstop. I thought I was going to die. My head just really started swelling up. I mean, you ever have one of those good hearty laughs nonstop? Your head, like, in the back, it just starts, and you're like, ha, 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 and you're holding the back of your head, ha, 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 you know, and it's like, please stop for a few minutes. Like, you wanted him to stop so you can kind of regain your composure, but it never happened. One of the jokes that stand out in my mind the most, there was a lot of great jokes that he had, but I love the joke that he said on the airplane. And he was like, when you gotta pass gas, he was like, no, don't hold that shit. Let it go. And he was basically talking about, you know, the way you don't set yourself up. You don't go to the restroom because you do number two. You go back and you sit in your chair.
Or you pass gas.
And the next person comes up.
Everybody sees your ass walking to the lavatory.
Yeah.
And then they got to see your ass walking back. And then the next person who goes in goes, oh, shit!
Yeah.
And then they know you did it.
Yeah, they know you did it, yeah. I mean, great way to set yourself up. His whole thing was, if you got to pass gas, do it in your chair, even if you're in between somebody. Helps you out even better if somebody's falling asleep next to you, because you can just let one rip, and then you can doze off. And if the other person wakes up, well, guess what? Yeah, you might have did it, but you're asleep. Or at least you're pretending to be asleep. That was
and
the
you
thing.
blame it on the next guy who was asleep when you did it.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, you smell something? Nope. You know, that was funny. There's so much, man, that he said in there. I talked about the Boondocks. Now, I know there's probably a lot of you guys that love your animation and all that. You guys will probably appreciate this story because I've been trying to see if Aaron Magruder talked about it, and I can't remember the last time I actually checked to see if he talked about the demise of the Boondocks series. But basically, as you all know, Aaron Magruder had got his start with the Boondocks in newspaper strip, and eventually he had sold his rights to Sony. And it turns out when they were negotiating, I guess, for this last season, Tammy, they were like, look, we want you to produce more episodes. And I can't remember exactly what John had said. I believe it was something to the effect of, we want you to produce like 3 episodes a week. We want you to write more material X amount of times a week. And John, he tried to back up Aaron. He was like, Aaron can't produce like that. He got to go at his own speed, you know, and that's why the episodes that happened previously before this final season was so on point, because he had enough time to really prepare and all that. And Aaron said, no, I can't do that. The turnaround you want, there's just no way I can do it. So what does Sony do? Sony fires his ass.
Because he sold his rights to Sony for the Boondocks. Or the Boondocks rights to Sony. So at that point, Sony says, well, we don't really like what you're saying to us, so guess what? You're fired.
Yeah. And meanwhile, while all this stuff was going on in between seasons, and there was some times that we didn't see the Boondocks, Witherspoon was getting paid. He had his contract set up so that, whatever amount he was supposed to be getting when he was working, that's what he got, even when he wasn't working. And as he had put it, his check was fat. It had nice zeros in it, from what he was bragging. But yeah, that's some good stuff for you guys to know, in case you all are curious. I know Boondocks, I think it's still on the air. I'm not really sure. I know they came back for like maybe 12 episodes. 12 episodes, I mean, you stretch that out, that's about 3 months. So they should be wrapped up by now, or getting ready to wrap up. But at least he's got this new show, Black Jesus, which is being produced and is created by Aaron Magruder. So it's nice to know that Aaron doesn't have a problem with Cartoon Network. It's just the little silly crap that was happening with Sony Pictures. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the last time Aaron did business with Sony Pictures. At least, you want to do business with them again, you make sure them rights are yours, But yeah, John was just so freaking on point. It was amazing. I loved how at the end he had everybody join in the sing-along as he was singing some old grooves. He was singing Smokey Robinson's Baby Baby. What else was he singing there?
My Girl by The Temptations.
Yeah. Sounded like he did one more.
And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, Louis Armstrong, Wonderful World.
Yes, he did that. Great way to close out the show. Also, the cheap plugging that he did on stage as he was promoting some CD he did some years back. What was it called? 65 cents? Or something like that.
I think it was like 69 or something, and he couldn't quite remember how many copies he had left.
Yeah. Because
he was actually selling some merchandise after the show.
Yeah.
So he said, well, I think I have 3 or 4 more copies or whatever, and Lee yelled out, you got 4! And he said, yeah, 4, that's a good number.
Yeah. And he was selling signed autographed T-shirts. Take your pick. It came in like 3 different designs.
The most popular favorite was Hoes Have to Eat Too.
And like a dumbass, I'm cheering real loud. Yeah! And there's a couple other guys. Yeah! And we're kind of like, it's probably not a smart thing to say, as there was a decent amount of ladies in attendance, But yeah. And he also talked about how he had a few signed copies of Friday movies, photograph opportunities. That was basically $20, if I'm not mistaken. And the way he took command and was like, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to form a line, right here. And you know what? That might have came as a result of whatever came about from the first show. He might have made improvements. Mick Foley had talked about how the first show didn't go off just right, and that show that we went to, which was the second show, they made the necessary tweaks that they did. But I just love how everything was just so smooth. We were able to get in there, take our photo ops, and then roll out, get our T-shirt. We ran into Corey as we were waiting to get the right size T-shirt, and we took turns taking pictures with him. Corey was a sweetheart. I had asked him if he could autograph the DVD, and he was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So he autographed it. He took the photos. I'm like, how much for the photos? He's like, oh, no, it's free. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, it's free. It's no problem. I was like, wow, And he was a great guy, a really great guy. And we definitely are going to try to do our best to see if we can get him on the show. He knows that we're going to be hitting him up very shortly. And so hopefully, and I'm definitely going to put some time before the weekend hits. I'm definitely going to hit him up and we can see if we can get him on the show. He's a hilarious guy. You all definitely need to show him some love. So let me actually plug Corey right now for you guys so that you guys can give him a follow. And if you all end up giving him a follow, courtesy of us, let him know that the RCWR shows Lee Sanders had sent you. But you can follow him on Twitter at Corey_Fernandez. One more time, Corey_Fernandez. And for John Witherspoon, you definitely got to show him some love. His is a tricky one. I believe, yep, there it is. His is on Twitter, John_Pops_spoon. Like, you know, you got a spoon, a fork, or you want to spoon somebody. John_Pops_spoon. And if you want to see what upcoming dates that John Witherspoon has as he's continuing his comedy tour, you got to go to his website, which is, and I'm not bullshitting you, it's bangbang.com. You got to put 4 bangs in there. According to John, if you put a 5th one in there, it's going to send your ass to a porn site. So make sure you put in 4 bangs. Bang, 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 bang. We know in his movies he said it 3 times, but you got to do it 4 times in .com at the end. Bang, 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 bang. .com. I just love saying that too, by the way. Bang, 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 bang. That's awesome. But yeah, great experience. If you guys didn't check out the photos, it's actually on our Facebook page at Infinity One Productions. We actually posted something on our Twitter page as well at the RCWR show. We still have to do an unveiling of the T-shirt, the DVD, which we'll do for you guys probably maybe later this week. What we might end up doing to make it be more unique for YouTube, Tammy, is maybe we can do the video of that unveiling, and then we can just have our whole experience talking about the comedy event included in there so that the YouTube audience doesn't feel too left out. Because I know there's some of them that checks us out on YouTube, but they don't get the chance to check us out on the downloads.
Yeah, I think that would be a great way to do it. And matter of fact, I think that's exactly what we'll do.
Yeah, great idea right there, yeah. But yeah, that is our experience with regards to that. Now, we can't end this without telling a very funny story. Me, you, our good buddies Tasha and Marcus, we're sharing a train ride home. We shared a train ride going. We're sharing a train ride going back. I noticed this woman that looks like a crackhead, and I wish I was exaggerating, but she looked like a crackhead. And I'm saying to myself, why does this heifer's face look familiar? So I just keep looking at her, and it was so messed up because, like, we're all talking about what all that came about, and big, dark chocolate, about darker than a Hershey's bar, she comes, excuse me, y'all saw the show? I'm like, yep. Now, he was so funny. What you talking about here? He's so funny. I saw him, you know, I wanted to get a picture with him, but he, you know, I wanted to get a T-shirt, and I wanted to get more, but, you know, I only had but so much money on me. I only had but $30. You know, it was so much just to pay the ticket, go in and see him, you know, but I only had the budget of $30 to see him, you know, so, you know, what y'all thought about him? Was he funny? I'm like, yeah, he was funny. And I'm just looking, and I'm like, Lord, this bitch about to talk a goddamn ear hole in their heads. I'm like, but why does her face look familiar to me? And then it comes to me. I remember being a security guard in my 20s, and I used to work down 20th and Pennsylvania Avenue near Georgetown territory, and I used to kick her out and her friends from out of my building because there was like a little food court area. There was one food court area, and then there was, I'm trying to think of the establishment, there was a ice cream parlor called Coney Island. And what they would do, they would claim all up and down that they just came from a meth clinic, and it's like, motherfucker, ain't no way in hell you came from out of a meth clinic, because if you came from out of a meth clinic, first of all, they're not going to let you out in that type of condition. If you really did get something done at the meth clinic, they're probably going to keep your ass there overnight until the shit wears off. Be for real. Your ass was panhandling, and then you went to a nearby crack house or drug dealer. You got your score, and then you brought your ass to my establishment to basically sleep the shit off, right? And I mean, they would just be ODing all over the place. They would just be drooling, and it'd be so sad. Sometimes I see one of them with ice cream, and they would just be ODing on their shoulder and shit, and they got the ice cream right there, and they got the spoon, and they're just, they're just dripping and all that. I mean, it's a sad fucking sight, and I used to kick them all out, and so that's where I had recognized her. She put some pounds on, because when I originally had kicked her out, she was a skinny-ass little heifer. Still had the fucked up teeth and all that, but she was a skinny little heifer. And I'm saying to myself, that's where I recognize her for. And it was so funny because I did a text message, and I kind of caught Tammy's attention, and I showed her, and she was like, really? I said, uh-huh. And Tammy was like, interesting. I'm like, yeah. And, but she just kept talking a fucking hole in all three of y'all's head. And then I'm like, let me see when the next train comes. I see the train comes in like 2 minutes, and I'm like, train's about to come. And I'm saying that to you all like, that's your cue, motherfuckers. Walk with me down a couple of cars so we can get away from this woman. Nah, these motherfuckers, guys, they continue to yap with the crackhead. Then when the train...
We were being polite. And no, we're not motherfuckers.
Well, whatever. Y'all sorry motherfuckers. Ow.
And yes, guys, I'm close enough to hit him.
I'm saying, though, the train comes, we get on, this heifer continues to talk a hole in the heads of Tasha and Marcus. It was so sad. I feel so sorry for them. Poor Marcus. At one point, he faked like he was sleeping, but he actually did fall asleep for real. Tasha was alone by herself, fending against this person. And, I mean, she was just like, yeah, oh, he's so funny. He's so funny. You know, the part where he talks about the fried chicken and fried hot sauce and put it on the toilet tissue. I did that. He's so funny. And you know, and the other thing, and keep in mind, we're on the train. This heifer actually takes off her sandals and reveals her pitch black pig feet. They look like pig feet to me. I don't them one toes. I don't know what the hell them was. They look like some ham hocks. Okay, some ham hocks for feet. And she just takes her sandals off, and she's being all loud, talking. It was so funny because there was two people behind her, to her right and to her left, all white people. They just gave her this evil eye, like, bitch, shut the fuck up. And, you know, and yes, she tortured them for like the entire train ride going home.
Which was probably 15 to 30 minutes. Now, the other funny part...
Shit, that wasn't no 15 to 30 minutes because we was experiencing single tracking. That was more like a 40-minute ride.
Okay, 40 minutes. But the funny part that was when myself and Lee kind of went towards the other end of the train, we didn't see her anymore, and it was kind of funny. So I went. Lee said, "Well, go investigate and see if she left or whatever." I said to Tasha, I said, "Did she leave?" And she kind of nodded her head and kind of pointing the head like, "No, she's over there." And it was so funny because I thought she was sitting right behind her, but she was actually on the left side to where she could see me ask if she left. So I felt kind of bad, but then the other part of me didn't feel so bad because she was annoying.
I hate people like that. It's like, lady, if you wanted somebody to talk to like that, you really should have got one of your girlfriends and have them tag along with you.
Well, according to her and the spiel that we heard from her, because she was telling us before she got on the train that her husband got locked up a couple of days before this particular comedy event. So, yeah, and she just talked, and it's so funny, you know, as much as I didn't want to hurt her feelings, you know, Lee and I were sitting, you know, on the train, and he was texting me, and, you know, we were talking about this particular person. Because
I was talking mad shit, too.
Yeah, basically, and I had no choice but to laugh because it was funny.
Talk mad shit about her. But overall, it was a great experience. I can't stress enough, if you guys haven't seen John Witherspoon in action yet, do it, man. Make it be your business. Check him out. Remember his website. Go there. Represent, man. If you've never seen him before, don't put yourself in a position where, oh man, I'm never going to be able to get the opportunity to see him now. I mean, let's be for real. He is getting up there in age, 72. You know, time ain't promised to everybody. You know, it's not infinite.
Nobody.
It's not infinite, you know. It's not infinity, you know.
Yeah.
So 72 years of age, yeah, definitely go represent. Check him out.